The NHL Draft just over a week away. We're about to talk to Craig Button about his final Craigslist. Here's 1 to 5. Macklin Celebrini remains at the top. And look at Tij Iginla all the way up to third after starting the year ranked outside the top 32. And it was funny because on Tuesday, San Jose Sharks GM Mike Grier, the Sharks have the #1 overall pick, and he had a pretty interesting comment about Macklin Celebrini.
At what point do you make that decision?
Well, first of all, meet with Macklin and his family, and if it is Macklin, did I say Macklin? We'll meet with them and see Macklin.
I can't really tell if he did that to mess with the media or if he actually messed up and revealed. I mean, everybody knew who he was going to pick, Craig. Does it really matter?
So you're telling me he's picking Macklin? Did he mention Macklin? Macklin? Yeah.
That was great.
I think it was great. And I think Mike having a lot of fun with it. Did I mention Macklin? Yeah, you mentioned Macklin. And you're happy to be able to have Macklin. I mean, you're looking at a player that's going to be a difference maker for the San Jose Sharks. Will Smith has decided to turn pro. Will Smith led the NCAA last year in scoring at Boston College. Just down the road on Commonwealth Avenue in Boston, the Hobey Baker winner was Macklin Celebrini. I believe this, Jay. I think that Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith can be what Crosby and Malkin were for the Pittsburgh Penguins, for the San Jose Sharks. And certainly Macklin Celebrini isn't Sidney Crosby. Will Smith isn't Evgeny Malkin. But those two players are frontline players, top players that are difference makers. And they're players that you build around in the center ice position. So for the San Jose Sharks to get Will Smith last year at 4 and now to be able to draft Macklin Celebrini at 1. Did I say Macklin? Yeah, I did. Is going to be tremendous, not just for the Sharks, but for the fan base out there. Because Macklin Celebrini played some of his minor hockey in the San Jose Sharks amateur hockey system.
Craig, the big surprise or the big story of your Craigslist, your final one heading into the draft next week, is, of course, Tij Iginla going all the way up to #3 on your list after starting the year outside of the top 32. He was terrific for the Kelowna Rockets this year. But how did he make such a massive leap in your mind, Craig? And for those who didn't get a chance to see him play in Kelowna, how would you compare Tij's game to that of his Hall of Fame father, Jerome?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, Tij shouldn't have been in anybody's top 32 at the start of the season. He had played in Seattle. He was a first-round draft pick, but Seattle was the Western Hockey League champions in the 22-23 season, and then they made some acquisitions that pushed him out of the lineup. But what Tij was able to do was be able to practice every day against really good defenders, with and against really good forwards, which really helped his development. It might not have been seen, and it might have been behind the curtain, but there was significant development there. Then he ends up in Kelowna, and building on that development, where it was largely unseen, he just took off. And you can call it a meteoric rise, but as you continue to watch Tij play, what you saw was a mastery of the game in so many different areas. We drafted Jerome Iginla when I was with the Dallas Stars in 1995. And it took us a while to really gain that full confidence in Jerome, because Jerome, like Tij, there was not a lot of flash and dash to his game. There was massive substance. There was massive competitive fire, a smart player that could play in any single area of the game. And when we drafted Jerome Iginla, a lot of people thought that we reached. I mean, he was rated 26 by Central Scouting that year. We took him at 11, and we projected him to be a 30, maybe a 35 goal scorer, a power winger. That's a pretty good projection for an 11th overall pick. We were wrong. We underestimated Jerome. And as I continued to watch Tij, and then I went back and started to look at some of the reports on Jerome. I still have them. I'll share them with you next Monday when I'm in studio. It was fascinating to see some of the similarities in their approach to the game. I think they're different types of players. You know, you're talking about 29 years difference between Jerome being drafted and Tij being drafted. But the elements that are really significant to success in the NHL don't change. Hockey sense, drive, competitiveness, a willingness to pay the price to get involved in the hard areas. Yes, Tij can score, but when you start to look at how much he just continued to meet every single challenge along the way, you got to pay attention. Tij Iginla might not be one of those players that catches your eye with a lot of flash and dash, but when you watch and watch deeply, he catches your eye because he's a player that can help you win when it counts the most, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
And quickly, Craig, another guy who moves up, Cole Eiserman, goes from 9 to 5 on your list, U.S. National Team Development Program. Why did he make the move up the list, and can his goal-scoring prowess translate to the NHL?
I think his goal-scoring prowess can extend to the NHL. And I think he's the best goal scorer in the draft. He broke Cole Caulfield's scoring record at the National Team Development Program. We beat it by 127 goals. He did it by scoring a goal against Canada at the U18 tournament in the gold medal match. Cole Eiserman, when you watch him play, he's hungry to score. He wants not only to put the puck in the net, he wants to put the puck through the net. I heard a lot of different things over the course of the year watching Cole play. Oh, he's not great defensively. He doesn't do this, his detailed defensively. You're not drafting him for defense. You're drafting him for his offensive abilities. And as I went through it and I continued to talk about it, and really what I did is I talked myself into what I feel is the right way. Because Mike Bossy went 15th overall in the 1977 draft, and the same things that were said about Mike Bossy then are the same things I heard about Cole Eiserman. Mike Bossy was clearly the best player in that draft, a brilliant goal scorer. That's what I see in Cole Eiserman, and it was easy for me to say, wait a second here, Craig. He needs to be higher up the list. Goal scoring is the hardest thing to do in the National Hockey League. He does it better than anybody in this draft, in my opinion.